The prophecy of the second coming and the kingdom of God in the Song of Solomon. The Song of Solomon is often interpreted as a poetic and intimate dialogue between a bride and her bridegroom, but it also holds profound prophetic significance, especially regarding the coming of Christ and the establishment of God's kingdom. Scholars have long observed how the Song of Solomon presents two distinct periods of Christ's ministry: the first coming, when he came to redeem the world, and the second coming, when he will return to claim his bride, the church, and inaugurate his kingdom. In this light, we can see how the Song of Solomon not only speaks to the present, but also points to future prophetic events, particularly the second coming of Christ. Christ's first coming in the Song of Solomon. The first part of the Song of Solomon captures the longing and anticipation of the bride for her bridegroom. This mirrors the expectation of Christ's first coming, which was awaited by the people of Israel. For example, in Song of Solomon 2, 8-9, we read, "The voice of my beloved, behold, he cometh leaping upon the mountains, skipping upon the hills. My beloved is like a roe or a young hart. Behold, he standeth behind our wall. He looketh forth at the windows, shewing himself through the lattice." This imagery represents Christ's arrival as the Messiah, coming in the fullness of time to redeem his people. Just as the bride hears the voice of her beloved and anticipates his coming, the people of Israel longed for the arrival of the Messiah, who would bring salvation. Furthermore, in Song of Solomon 2, 10-12, we hear the bridegroom inviting his bride to come with him, saying, "Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. For, lo, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone, the flowers appear on the earth. The time of the singing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land." This beautiful invitation to come away reflects the redemptive work of Christ during his first coming. It marks the end of the winter, symbolizing the era of sin and separation from God, and the beginning of a new season of restoration and spiritual renewal. The Apostle Paul echoes this in Ephesians 5:25-27, where he describes Christ's love for the church. "Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish." The redemptive love of Christ in his first coming is beautifully illustrated in the Song of Solomon, where he calls his bride to be cleansed and adorned for the wedding, Christ's second coming, and the kingdom of God. As the Song of Solomon progresses, it begins to take on a more prophetic tone, pointing forward to the second coming of Christ and the establishment of his eternal kingdom. The second part of the song, particularly from Song of Solomon 4 onward, emphasizes the union between the bridegroom and his bride, which corresponds to the church's final union with Christ in the age to come. In Song of Solomon 4, 9-10, the bridegroom declares, "Thou hast ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse. Thou hast ravished my heart with one of thine eyes, with one chain of thy neck. How fair is thy love, my sister, my spouse! How much better is thy love than wine!" This speaks to the love that will be consummated at Christ's second coming, when he will unite with his church in glory, as seen in Revelation 19:7-9. "Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him. For the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he saith unto me, Write, Blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb." The imagery in the Song of Solomon, particularly in 8:6-7, speaks to the enduring nature of the love between the bride and her bridegroom, a love that is victorious over all. It says, "Set me as a seal upon thine heart, as a seal upon thine arm. For love is strong as death. Jealousy is cruel as the grave. The coals thereof are coals of fire, which hath a most vehement flame. Many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it." This unbreakable bond of love points to the eternal and unshakable nature of Christ's commitment to his church, even in the face of persecution, suffering, and trials, leading to his ultimate return to claim his bride. Finally, the prophetic culmination of Christ's second coming is reflected in the establishment of God's kingdom, where Christ reigns as king. In Isaiah 9, verse 6 to 7, we read, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever." This promise of a kingdom without end is fulfilled in the second coming, when Christ reigns in peace and righteousness, and the marriage of the Lamb is consummated. In conclusion, the Song of Solomon is a profound prophetic picture of Christ's first and second comings, with the first part reflecting his redemptive work on earth, and the second part pointing forward to the glorious return of the bridegroom to claim his bride, the church, and establish his kingdom forever. The love between Christ and his church is depicted as eternal and unbreakable, and his return will bring about the ultimate union of heaven and earth.